So the new PTU patch is out, and I think most players will check out the new ships or existing ships and see if they can find them in the PTU. Well, for me, the most interesting object in Star Citizen right now is this container. Okay, this goes back to the video I made a few days ago about the ARGO Raft, because I wasn't sure how the raft is going to how it's going to use the cargo grid, because it's supposed to have slots for 3 standardized 32 SCU containers, which I think are these containers. And a few viewers in the comments told me how it's supposed to work. And one viewer told me that you will be able to get containers like this where you can put stuff inside. And when I read it, I thought, there's no way they're going to do that, because they're probably just going to do something where you walk up to it, you press a button, then you have this local inventory of the container and you remove stuff, which I think would be a step back from the cargo grid so you can physically see all the things. But then I saw this container, which is featured openly like that, so it's not just a background prop. And then I went to the roadmap. It's here, inventory cargo, allow players to store smaller items. So I think it's the same container. So I think there's a really cool gameplay application for that. And I think from a developer's perspective, it fulfills another purpose for them too. And there's some implications on the roadmap itself with that container. So I'll start with the roadmap implications. In my most conservative estimate, or least optimistic one, I think what will happen, we'll get this container at the end of the year. You can get it at the cargo center. And then when you're close to your ship in the hangar, you open your local inventory like that. You can drag it out, put it on the ground somewhere, and then attach to your ship. That's my low-end estimate. Now, my more optimistic estimate is that other gameplay systems attached to that thing will also come out in the first version at the end of December. Okay, so if we go to deliverables, let's type in cargo. So my most optimistic estimate is that freight elevators might be coming out in some way at the end of the year. I think it's just some internal work finish thing. I also don't trust the roadmap, because I think those are precisely designed to give the players certain impressions so they buy more ships. So I never trusted that thing the last 4 years. However, the most optimistic view would be that we get some type of freight elevators, because the new missions cargo hauling talk about freight elevators. Means if you get cargo missions, which you might get at the end of the year, then you will have some type of freight elevator you can get the cargo from. And perhaps even persistent hangars. I mean, persistent hangars, I think, has to be with the cargo elevator. Or actually, it does not, I think. What they could do, for example, is make the hangar not persistent, but make the cargo elevator door persistent, which means you go to the cargo elevator door, you press what you want, it delivers it to the cargo elevator, and that's basically a connection to the persistent area of the cargo system. So that's my guess. If they add some type of cargo elevator, but the persistent hangar itself will still not be persistent. And I'd like to talk about the gameplay implications of it. So from a player's perspective, I think it's a pretty cool thing, because if you, again, I'm being optimistic here. If you can put stuff into it like the way you want, like you can put a box down, put a gun on it, and everything remains as you put it. Then you can create your own little, it's like your own little room that you can decorate anywhere you want, and you can port it and put it anywhere you want. So once full persistence at some point is in the game, imagine building like your own little survival shack. Perhaps some type of food, water, ammo in it. You can carry it with your ship to like some remote place, drop it somewhere in the forest, and have the box persist there. And every time you come back, it's like your personal stash where you can put things. Now, from a developer's perspective, I think it's interesting, because they have like a button on the outside, which I think implies if you click on it, the thing closes. And what it also implies, I think, is that when the door closes, things inside are not rendered anymore and not physically active in any way, which means it reduces, I think, the load on the server, because that thing is then its own mini cargo elevator, as in stuff you close the door on, it doesn't get rendered anymore. And if you want to see it again, you just click on it again. Because I think the main fascination from the cargo grid is you can put stuff, you can snap it to it, you can see the cargo physically. It's not just something in a menu list, it's physically there, you can touch it. However, if you can also like toggle it from being out of view, so you can only see it if you really want to, that can actually allow developers, I think, to reduce the strain on the server to some extent.